Happy Monday, everybody. I'm my name is Lotus. Welcome to the Conversations with Lotus. Today is January 27th of the year of our Lord of 2025. Every day is getting a little better. That's, you know, even though the news isn't better, even though the weather hasn't changed, things are getting a little bit better in my mind space. Had a much needed night out with my friends last night. I want to show my appreciation to my friends, and it's really heartwarming to be included when you felt so excluded for so long. So I appreciate that. And you know who you are, who I'm talking about. But let's get back into our reading, okay? We're reading The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. Fantastic book. It's only 100 pages. If you can get your hands on it, the last copy I purchased for another person, I bought it Five Below. Yeah, I bought it at Five Below. So it was $5 at Five Below. So you can get this book anywhere. You can get it on Amazon, paperback, hardback. I think the hardbacks are like $15, and then the paperbacks are $7 and still free shipping. So I think you can get same day shipping too. But like I said, the last copy I purchased was at Five Below. They also had another, they had the expanded fifth agreement, and they also had the one regarding love specifically. So if you wanted to look into that. Obviously, every time I get on this camera, I get a little more clear, a little more awake. I still haven't drank all my coffee though. But let's get back into where we were when we left off on Saturday. So where we left off, we're on the page that at the very end of the page, it says Prelude to a New Dream. Okay, we talked about the dream of family, the dream of a city, state, country, the world, right? And how that belief system before is set by other people. Those standards are set by other people. We adopt those standards in our brains, and then we become judge and jury and executioner to ourselves if we don't fit within that dream of society. So, what is our task now, do you think? I think it's time to start thinking about what the new dream looks like. Who is our authentic self? Are we going to allow ourselves to be our authentic self? Just saying. So, Prelude to a New Dream. There are thousands of agreements you have made with yourself, with other people, with your dream of life, with God, with society, with your parents, with your spouse, with your children. But the most important agreements are the ones you made with yourself. In these agreements, you tell yourself who you are, what you feel, what you believe, and how to behave. The result is what we call, or what you would call, your personality. In these agreements, you say, this is what I am, this is what I believe, I can do certain things, and some things I cannot do. This is a reality. That is fantasy. This is possible. That is impossible. One single agreement is not such a problem, but we have many agreements that make us suffer, that make us fail in life. If you want to live a life of joy and fulfillment, you have to find the courage to break those agreements that are fear-based and claim your personal power. The agreements that come from fear require us to expend a lot of energy. Require us to expend a lot of energy. But the agreements that come from love help us to conserve energy and even gain extra energy. Each of us is born with a certain amount of personal power that we rebuild every day after we rest. Unfortunately, we spend all of our personal power first to create all these agreements and then to keep these agreements. Your personal power is dissipated by all the agreements we have created, and the result is that we feel powerless. We have just enough power to survive each day because most of it is used to keep the agreements that trap us in the dream of the planet. How can we change the entire dream of our life when we have no power to change even the smallest agreement? If we can see it is our agreements that rule our own life and we don't like the dream of our life, we need to change the agreements. When we are finally ready to change our agreements, there are 4 very powerful agreements that will help us to break those agreements that come from fear and deplete our energy. Each time you break an agreement, all the power you use to create it returns to you. If you adopt these 4 agreements, they will create enough personal power for you to change the entire system of your old agreements. You need a very strong will in order to adopt the 4 agreements. If you can begin to live your life, with these agreements, the transformation in your life will be amazing. You will see the drama of hell disappear right before your very eyes. Instead of living in a dream of hell, you'll be creating a new dream, your own personal heaven. So good. The first agreement. Be impeccable with your word. The first agreement is the most important one and also the most difficult one to honor. This is so important that with just this first agreement, you will be able to transcend to the level of existence I call heaven on earth. The first agreement is to be impeccable with your word. It sounds very simple, but it is very, very, very powerful. Why your word? Your word is the power that you have to create. Your word is the gift that comes directly from God. The Gospel of John, the Bible, speaking of the creation of the universe, says, in the beginning of this world, and the beginning was the word, Let's go back, circle back. So the Gospel of John, the Bible, speaking of the creation of the universe, says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word is God. Through the Word, you express your creative power. It is through the Word that you manifest everything. Regardless of language you speak, your intent manifests through the Word. What you dream, what you feel, and what you really are will be manifested through the Word. The Word is not just a sound or a written symbol. The Word is a force. It is the power you have to express and communicate, to think, and thereby to create events in your life. You speak. You can speak. What other animal on the planet can speak? The word is the most powerful tool you have as a human. It is a tool of magic. But like a sword with 2 edges, your word can create the most beautiful dream, or your word can destroy everything around you. One edge is a misuse of the word, which creates a living hell. The other edge is the impeccability of the word, which will only create beauty, love, and heaven on earth. Depending on how you use it, the word can set you free, or it can enslave you even more than you know. All the magic you possess is based on your word. Your word is pure magic. And the misuse of your word is black magic. The word is so powerful that that one word can change a life or destroy lives of millions of people. Some years ago, one man in Germany, by the use of the word, manipulated an entire country of the most intelligent people. He led them into a world war with just the power of his word. He convinced others to commit the most atrocious acts of violence. He activated people's fear with the word. And like a big explosion, there was killing and war around the world. All over the world, humans destroyed other humans because they were afraid of each other. Hitler's word, based on fear generated beliefs and agreements, will be remembered for centuries. The human mind is like a fertile ground where seeds are constantly being planted. The seeds are opinions, ideas, concepts. You plant a seed, a thought, and it grows. The word is like a seed, and the human mind is so fertile. The only problem is that too often it is fertile for the seeds of fear. Every human mind is fertile, but only for those kinds of seeds it is prepared for. What is important to see which kind of seeds your mind is fertile for and to prepare it to receive the seeds of love. Take the example of Hitler. He sent out all those seeds of fear, and they grew very strong and beautifully, achieved massive destruction. Seeing the awesome power of the word, we must understand what power comes out of our mouths. One fear or doubt planted in our mind can create an endless drama of events. One word is like a spell, and humans use the word like black magicians, thoughtlessly putting spells on each other. Every human is a magician, and we can either put a spell on somebody with our word or, excuse me, I lost my spot. Every human is a magician, and we can either put a spell on somebody with our word or we can release somebody from a spell. We cast spells all the time with our opinions. An example, I see a friend and give him an opinion that just popped into my mind. I say, I see that kind of color in your face in people who are going to get cancer. If he listens to the word and if he agrees, he will have cancer in less than a year. That is the power of the word. During our domestication, our parents and siblings gave their opinions about us without even thinking. We believed these opinions. We lived in fear over these opinions, like not being good at swimming or sports or riding. Someone gives us an opinion, says, look, this girl is ugly. The girl listens, believes she's ugly, and grows up with no idea, with the idea that she's ugly. It doesn't matter how beautiful she actually is, as long as she has that agreement, she will believe that she's ugly. That is a spell that she's under. By hooking our attention, the word can enter our mind and change a whole belief for better or for worse. Another example, you may believe you are stupid. You may have believed this for as long as you can remember, This agreement can be very tricky because you causing you to do a lot of things just to ensure that you're stupid. You may do something and think to yourself, I wish I were smart, but I must be stupid or I wouldn't have done that. The mind goes in hundreds of directions, and we could spend days getting hooked by just that one belief in our own stupidity. Then one day, someone hooks your attention. Using the word lets you know that you're not stupid. You believe that person says, you believe what that person says and make a new agreement. As a result, you no longer feel stupid. A whole spell has been broken just by the power of the word. Conversely, if you believe you are stupid and someone hooks your attention and says, yes, you are really the most stupid person I have ever met, the agreement will be enforced and become stronger. Now let us see what the word impeccability means. Impeccability means without sin. Impeccable comes from the Latin pectus, which means sin. And the in impeccable comes from without. So impeccable means without sin. Religions talk about sin and sinners. But let's understand what it really means to sin. A sin is anything that you do which goes against yourself. Everything you feel or believe or say that goes against yourself is a sin. Because we are God, remember, you're God. You go against yourself when you judge or blame yourself for anything. Being without sin is exactly the opposite. Being impeccable is not going against yourself. Because you're God, remember. Don't go against yourself. When you are impeccable, you take responsibility for your actions, but you do not judge or blame yourself. From this point of view, the whole concept of sin changes from something moral or religious to something common sense. Sin begins with rejection of yourself. Self-rejection is the biggest sin that you can commit. In religious terms, self-rejection is a mortal sin, which leads to death. Impeccability, on the other hand, leads to life, right? Being impeccable with your word is not using the word against yourself. If I see you in the street and I call you stupid, it appears that I'm using the word against you. But really, I'm using the word against myself because you're going to hate me for this. And your hating me is not good for me. Therefore, if I get angry and with my words send all this emotional prison to you, I'm using the word against myself. If I love myself, I will express that love in my interactions with you. And then I'm being impeccable with the word because the action will produce a like reaction. If I love you, then you will love me. If I insult you, you will insult me. If I have gratitude for you, you will have gratitude for me. If I'm selfish with you, you will be selfish with me. If I use the word to put a spell on you, you're going to put a spell on me. Being impeccable with your word is the correct use of your energy. It means to use your energy in the direction of truth and love for yourself. If you make any agreement with yourself to be impeccable with your word, just with that intention, the truth will manifest through you and clean all the emotional prison that exists within you. But making this agreement is difficult because we have learned to be precisely the opposite. We have learned to lie as a habit of our communication with others, and more importantly, ourselves, we are not impeccable with the word. The power of the word is completely misused in hell. We use the word to curse, to blame, to find guilt, to destroy. Of course, we also use it in the right way, but not too often. Mostly we use the word to spread our personal prison, to express anger, jealousy, envy, hate. The word is pure magic, the most powerful gift we have as humans, and we use it against ourselves. We plan revenge, we create chaos with the word. We use the word to create hate between different races, between different people, between families, between nations. We misuse the word so often, and this misuse is how we create and perpetuate the dream of hell. Misuse of the word is how we pull each other down and keep each other in a state of fear and doubt. Because the word is the magic that humans possess. Hold on one second. I have to put this on Do Not Disturb. Okay. Misuse of the word is how we pull each other down and keep each other in a state of fear and doubt, because the word is the magic that humans possess, and misuse of the word is black magic. We are using black magic all the time without knowing that our word is magic at all. There is a woman, for example, who was intelligent and had a very good heart. She had a daughter whom she adored and loved so much. One night, she came home from a very bad day at work, tired, full of emotional tension, with a terrible headache. She wanted peace and quiet, but her daughter was singing and jumping happily. The daughter was unaware of how her mother was feeling. She was in her own world, in her own dream. She felt so wonderful, and she was jumping and singing louder and louder, expressing her joy and her love, and she was singing so loud that it made her mother's headache even worse. And at a certain moment, the mother lost control. Angrily, she looked at her beautiful little girl and said, "Shut up! You have an ugly voice. Could you just shut up?" The truth is, the mother's tolerance for any noise was non-existent. It wasn't that the little girl's voice was ugly, but the daughter believed what her mother said. And in that moment, she made an agreement with herself. After that, she no longer sang because she believed her voice was ugly and would bother anyone who heard it. She became shy at school, and if she was asked to sing, she refused. Even speaking to others became difficult for her. Everything changed in the little girl because of this new agreement. She believed she must repress her emotions in order to be accepted and loved. Whether you hear an opinion and believe it, we make an agreement, and it becomes a part of our belief system. This little girl grew up, and even though she had a beautiful voice, she never sang again. She developed a whole complex from one spell. The spell was cast upon her by the one who loved her most, her own mother. Her mother didn't notice what she did with her word. She didn't notice that she used black magic and put a spell on her daughter. She didn't know the power of her word, and therefore she isn't to blame. She did what her own mother, father, and others had done in many ways. They misused the word. How many times do we do this to our children? We give them these types of opinions, and our children carry that black magic for years and years. People who love us do black magic on us, but they don't know what they do. That is why we must forgive them. They don't know what they do. Another example. You wake in the morning feeling very happy. You feel so wonderful. You stay 1 or 2 hours in front of the mirror, making yourself beautiful. When one of your best friends says, "What has happened to you? You look so ugly. Look at that dress you're wearing. You look ridiculous." That's it. That is enough to put you all the way down in hell. Maybe this girlfriend just told you this to hurt you, and she did. She gave you an opinion with all the power of her word behind it. If you accept the opinion, it becomes an agreement now. And you pull all your power into that agreement. You put all of your power into that agreement, into that opinion. That opinion becomes black magic. These types of spells are difficult to break. The only thing we can break that can break a spell, the only thing that can break a spell is to make a new agreement based on truth. The truth is the most important part of being impeccable with your word. On one side of the sword are the lies, which create black magic. And on the other side of the sword is the truth, which has the power to break the spell of black magic. Only the truth will set you free. Looking at everyday human interactions, imagine how many times we cast spells on each other with our word. Over time, this interaction has become the worst form of black magic. We call it gossip. Gossip is black magic. At its very worst, because it is pure prison. We learned how to gossip by agreement. When we were children, we heard the adults around us gossiping all the time, openly giving our opinions about other people. They even had opinions about people they didn't know. Emotional prison is transferred along with the opinions, and we learn this as the normal way to communicate. Gossiping has become the main form of communication in human society. It has become the way we feel close to each other because it makes us feel better to see someone else feel so badly as we do. There's an old expression that says, misery loves company. He said misery likes company, but I think that's because the translation. And people who are suffering in hell don't want to be all alone. Who wants to be all alone in hell? Fear and suffering are an important part of the dream of the planet. They are how the dream of the planet keeps us down. Using the analogy of the human mind as a computer, gossip can be compared to a computer virus. A computer virus is a piece of computer language written in the same language all the other codes are written in, but with a harmful intent. This code is inserted into the program of your computer when you least expect it, and most of the time without your awareness. After this code has been introduced, your computer doesn't work quite right, or it doesn't function at all because the codes get so mixed up with so many conflicting messages that it stops producing good results. Human gossip works exactly the same way. For example, you are beginning a new class with a new teacher, and you've looked forward to it for a long time. On the first day of class, you run into someone who took the class before who tells you, "Oh, that instructor was such a pompous jerk. He didn't know what he was talking about, and he was a pervert too, so watch out." You immediately are imprinted with the word and the emotional code that person had when saying this. But what you are not aware of is he or her motivation in telling you. This person could be angry for failing the class or simply making an assumption based on fears and prejudices. But because you have learned to ingest information like a child, some part of you believes the gossip and you go on to class. As the teacher speaks, you feel the prison come up inside you, and you don't realize you see the teacher through the eyes of the person who gave you that gossip. Then you start talking to other people in the class about this, and they start to see the teacher in the same way, as a jerk and a pervert. You really hate the class, and soon you decide to drop out. You blame the teacher, but it is gossip to blame. All of this mess can be caused by one little computer virus, one little piece of misinformation. One little piece of misinformation can break down communication between people, causing every person it touches to become infected and contagious to others. Imagine that every single time others gossip to you, they insert a computer virus into your mind, causing you to think little less clearly every time. That image. Then imagine that in effort to clean up your own confusion and get some relief from the prison, from the poison, you gossip and spread these viruses to someone else. Now imagine this pattern imagine this pattern going on in a never-ending chain between all the humans on Earth. The result is a world full of humans who can only read information through circuits that are clogged with a poisonous, contagious virus. Once again, this poisonous virus is what the Toltecs called the memote, mitote, the chaos of 1,000 different voices all trying to talk at once in the mind. Even worse are the black magicians or computer hackers who intentionally spread the virus. Think back to a time when you or someone you know was angry with somebody else and desired revenge. In order to seek revenge, you said something to or about that person with the intention of spreading poison and making that person feel bad about him or herself. As children, we do this quite thoughtlessly, but as we grow older, we become much more calculated in our efforts to bring other people down. Then we lie to ourselves and say that a person received a just judgment for their wrongdoing. When you see the world through a computer virus, it's easy to justify the cruelest behavior. What we don't see is the misuse of the word is putting us deeper in hell. I think that's a good stopping point. Now, I'm not going to lie to any of you guys. I am a chatty Cathy, and I like to talk. So this agreement, being that it's the first one, is so important that you master this one and understand how the misuse of language has affected you to your core. When I was a little girl, it was a lot of "you're pretty, but you have a beautiful voice, but you're so smart, but all the buts engulfed me as a child, as a preteen, as a teenager, and even as an adult, and definitely as a parent. Am I innocent of passing those belief systems on to my children. I am not. In fact, even having the conversation about raising children, we agreed on how we would raise our children and how we would discipline our children and how we would speak to our children. And just recently, now that the kids are in their teen years and they're becoming who they are, who they truly are, we're finding out that we've done them a huge disservice. We thought that we were pretty chill, cool parents, but it's all those comments, side comments, the tired at the end of the day comments that rewrote everything in our child's brain, And I recognized that from my own childhood, and I passed that on like a fucking torch, to my child. Our kids deserve more, and we deserve more. So now it's time to really know and really get to know who we are and know that the reflection that we see in the mirror is God too. God is perfect. He makes no mistakes. And you're God, and I am God. So every time you speak against yourself or against another human being, you're speaking against God. And that is, like he said at the beginning, that is a mortal sin. A mortal sin to even think that God made mistakes. God doesn't make mistakes. He creates perfection, and then we as humans have cultivated our own hell on earth. So let's take the time today, tomorrow, the next day, every day to, yes, affirmations are corny, but we have to reprogram our brains. We have to reprogram our brains to know that we are perfect in God's eyes. We are God. God is perfect. God makes no mistakes. You are not a mistake. Your idea is not a mistake. The reason why it's digging at your brain is because it's not a mistake. It's not something to take you off course. It's to put you back on course, put you back on course for your purpose. So let's take a minute today, just think about how we can not participate in gossip, not perpetuate the dream that someone else has built of you, of who you are. And let's comment below if you want to chat about it a little bit more, or you can always inbox me. All right, y'all enjoy the rest of your day. I look forward to reading the rest of this book to you. We only got through 10 pages this time. All right. This has been the Conversations with Lotus.